Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, Thursday morning. It's not the end of the week, but you can see it from here. Hope you are doing amazing on this Thursday, and everything is just going as fantastic as it possibly can. That the Lord has provided all you need for this day and all the days to come. Indeed. So you know how it works. We'll be in throughout the morning. You'll listen to some music, and every once in a while we'll jump in. We'll have something cool to talk about. We'll have a scripture verse, maybe tell a story, talk about a few goofy things, and we'll all get through it together on your Thursday. Again, it's not the end, but it's getting there. Okay, Double Pop, Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, Thursday. I'm Dave. It's almost 6 after the hour. Double Pop, Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings on your Thursday morning. Scripture verse time at 10 minutes to the hour because, Jesus, right? It's a good one. Matthew 16, verse 15 through 16. What about you, Jesus asked. Who do you say that I am? Simon Peter answered, You are the Christ, Son of the living God. That proclamation, that's basically that agreement right there. That's who he is. That's who you are, Lord. We have to be willing to stand up for that moment. Okay. When people say, when people want to know about the Lord, who do you say he is? You have to say, this is Jesus, the Son of God. The one who was sent for us, died for us, for you and me, for everybody. You have to affirm the moment in each and every time, and you will always be presented with these moments of when people, rare is the day that you will see now the person who. When somebody will ask you about Jesus and say, well, who is he? Okay, it's not like back then, okay, where people, but you still have to be in that moment where you have to stand up for Jesus and be able to explain who he is, why he was sent. Why you talk about him, okay? Why he's the everything. He's not just essential. He's everything. And so, you'll be presented with those moments, okay? It's not it's not like in the introduction that it was, all those years ago. But there are some people today that are still waiting to be introduced to Jesus. There are some people who've been introduced to Jesus who have, rejected him. There's some people that have been introduced that, are waiting for more information. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's where you come in, okay? And you have to explain who he is, why he was sent, tell us something about him. And that's your opportunity too. When you're given those opportunities, that's like, okay, the door's open. I have my moment now. This is a chance. I can get in here. This is a soul winning opportunity, Kingdom impact right here. So listen for those moments. Listen for when people ask you about your Lord. Be ready to affirm who he is and see it for what it is. The opportunity sometimes to create another moment, another, crowding heaven, one friend at a time. That's what Double Pop Worship Zone's, mantra is on top, right? Crowding heaven, one friend at a time. Here's your chance, one friend. It's a chance to make that happen. When someone says, who are you speaking of? Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, Thursday. 54 after the hour. Double Pop, Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, 20 minutes to the hour. You know what I saw the other day? Not gonna believe it. I couldn't believe somebody still had one. A cap gun. Man, a cap gun when we were kids was like, how do I say it? The bomb diggity of toys. Okay, if you were a boy. Sometimes you were a girl too, okay? Because we had some cool girls, okay? Yeah, hey, I don't minimize the value of a maniac girl buddy, okay? Trust me. They're hilarious, some of them. Cap guns were, you could sit there and you were entertained for hours. If you had a couple rolls of caps and a cap gun, you could be entertained for hours. I think about like the simplicity of the toys we had that we were kids that would not even pierce the fabric of people today. A kid gets 5 seconds, like if your grandparent like me nowadays, and I am forever grateful now that my grandchildren are becoming like adults, because the things to get them for gifts, the list is just like, they don't want anything. They want that Amazon card. Give me an Amazon card. If something shows up they want, they got an Amazon card to buy it. It'll show up at the door. They don't want you going out and getting a gift for them. Every once in a while, like a couple of Christmases ago, okay, I actually came up with a couple of good gift ideas. They were very well received, and they weren't, they weren't incredibly expensive. They were personalized. I guess that's still popular. Okay, nowadays it's good the places print on the spot, because the names of kids, okay, nowadays has changed so crazy that you can't even find basic names on the shelf anymore. But once in a while, you could find a gift out there. They'll personalize it for you, make it look. The kids really liked it. Okay, so. Honestly, you'll run into those moments, but by and large, they don't want you buying stuff. They'll take, and you feel like such a cheapskate giving them that Amazon card and saying, well, here's another holiday, and they're like, and they pretend to like, okay, they look, but they really do like it because they save them up, and then they buy, I don't know, like electronic things with them or whatever they get. So they sort of like that. But the cap gun, like today, you would thought wouldn't even penetrate the public child, the child of today. Okay, the kid wouldn't, you give it to like a typical 8-year-old today, and he's like, get out of here. I got a laser, and I got an actual thing. I can, I can blow you up from what I got in my room. Okay, here's this cap gun. But there was this one kid, he looked to be about 6. He was playing with a cap gun. He just kept, snapping the thing off. And I'm thinking of just like about the simplicity of the toys we had when we were kids. We had just like all the, you had a hula hoop. You had the Wheelo. I had a Wheelo, okay? Actually, I'm on the buying. If you ever seen a Wheelo, it's that metal hook with a magnetic wheel on it that flies, goes up and down. I bought another one as an adult one day. I sat with it probably for a year and flew the thing around and sitting and watching TV. I thought my wife was gonna put it somewhere special. She was sick of the Wheelo, but yeah, no, I flew that. I played with that thing. That was my fidget device. If I had nothing to do, I picked the Wheelo up and spun the Wheelo up and down. If you don't know what that is, look that up and probably go buy yourself one because it's funny. They had that. Remember I think it was called Footsie, that had the. You stepped into the ring and you skipped the spinning thing that looked like a bell on the other end. That was pretty cool too. You could play with that. There was more physical tools, toys. Kids don't want to do anything physical now. They want to sit in the house and eat vitamin D pills and be in front of a screen somehow. That's how it works nowadays. But the fact that I saw a kid the other day with a cap gun really just opened up my summer mentality and said, yeah, I'm thinking of all the kids playing in the streets when we were younger and had all these little gadgety toys and whatnot, and just how much fun it was, and how and pass the time, and we were entertained, and we play a game with a cap gun and whatever. You could pretend to shoot kids. Okay, unlike today where you can actually shoot kids. Back then we can just pretend to shoot them, and I think that it was a whole better world than we could just pretend to shoot them. Anyway, thou shalt not commit murder, okay? Even fake murder. No murder of any kind, even with fake toys. Double Pop Worship Zone, playing with some toys here on Thursday morning. We'll play with some toys from time to time if I ever encounter any cool toy things. Toys are cool. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, 20 minutes past the hour on your Thursday morning. It's your favorite segment and mine. It is holidays and observances time. It's whatever. What is today's minor holiday? Indeed, these create some good banter, don't they? Now and then. So, for July 23rd, first one is a good one. It's a very important one. National Vanilla Ice Cream Day. Absolutely. Who doesn't love a good old vanilla, right? Vanilla ice cream. People say, it's still the most popular flavor. You go to the ice cream places, whatever, they ask people who work there, what's the most popular flavor? They all still say vanilla is number one on the list. So, can you imagine all these years, all the different flavors? I'm a mint chocolate chip guy. Okay, there's a lot of people who are. Half my grandkids will all say it. I think they say it because they want to. They're trying to get in good with me. But my wife is still vanilla ice cream every day. That's what she eats. Or I go for a good chocolate gelato of some kind. She's got her vanilla ice cream. And vanilla's changed like so much. Like there's all sorts of different kinds of vanilla now. There's vanilla bean, there's vanilla, old-fashioned vanilla, there's churn. They got all these different kinds of vanillas now. There's not like everything else. It can't just stay just basic. It has to be some sort of a twist on everything. Going back to that thing the other day, I said, why is there no room in the stores? Okay, it's because everything has 4 different varieties of the same thing over and over again. So, they don't have room for all this stuff. I think how big you think the freezer got with like 15 kinds of vanilla? Now they need 4 more freezers to keep all that in there, right? Also, it is National Hot Grandma's Day. Well, I guess that's my wife too. There you go. So she got Vanilla Ice Cream Day, and she's got Hot Grandma's Day. There you go. Hope she's listening. This way, you never know. I might get something good for dinner. Also, it's National Refreshments Day. Okay. Yeah, perfect time in the middle of the summer to have National Refreshments Day because we want to be refreshed in the middle of summer. There's more like everything else. There's more of it now than there ever was before. I mean, growing up, refreshments were in the summer. The idea of refreshments was Kool-Aid. Okay, you had a pitcher of Kool-Aid. If you had a pitcher of Kool-Aid, that was pretty much like refreshments. And, there was always the controversy in my house that Kool-Aid was bought, okay? And she would get the little itty bitty 10-cent packet. This is my mother, of course. The one you had to add sugar to. But, of course, we didn't pick up any sugar because she didn't eat it. She was on a sweet and low thing, which did not mix well with Kool-Aid because Lord knows we found that out. That was disgusting, by the way. Do not try that at home, or try it if you really want. If you hate, I won't say hate. If you're mad at somebody for the moment, mix some sweet and low or stevia in your sugar-free Kool-Aid packet. Okay, and what do you call it? You'll get you'll get an outcome you weren't quite expecting. It has to be mixed with sugar, okay, or it does not. Or it does not come out right, and it's an awful outcome, trust me. Anyway, so yeah, but for 25 cents more, they had the one that already had the sugar premix in it. And of course, all our neighbors got that because it saved all the extra sugar usage and work. Okay. I was like there with the one in the house with no sugar and no sugar in it, no sugar in the house. And so it really, all it was grape flavoring that, just turned your finger an ugly purple when you dipped it in wet to try to get the taste of it. It did not come out good. But yeah, nowadays though, you don't have to worry about that. We were in the store the other day. We saw all the Kool-Aid packets. They're still there. I mean, everything is they still have the non-sugar one, the sugar one. They have all the different Kool-Aids for refreshments. And I love the picture that burst through the wall and everything. That's how I got my word burst. Burst through the wall and brings you a glass of Kool-Aid. So go get yourself some, I don't know, vanilla ice cream, maybe some Kool-Aid, and hang out with your hot grandma. That can make your Thursday in the middle of the summer. Double Pop Worship Zone on your Thursday, minor holidays. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings on your Thursday, 15 or so past the hour on your Thursday. How you doing? Getting through the morning? Everything going okay? Oh, I forgot to mention before. My wife, I mentioned how much she loves vanilla ice cream, but her real flavor du jour is maple walnut. If that's around, but on the daily she eats vanilla. Maple walnut though is her big, exciting one anyway. So, as if you care. But I thought I'd bring that up to clarify the record. So yesterday in my devotional, I talked about a professional wrestler. Professional wrestling is one of those microcosms for life for me anyway. I don't know. It's one of my go-tos for a lot of stuff. And there was this wrestler back in the day, and he's still around. He's 88 years old, and he's still around. And we used to see him at the Coliseum quite a bit and on TV, and he was his name was Johnny Rods. Okay, John Rodriguez was his name, but he would go by Johnny Rods. And Johnny Rods was he was what was known at, and if you know anything about professional wrestling, he's called enhancement talent or a jobber. Okay, and a jobber or enhancement talent was a guy who was designed to go show up and lose to a bigger name. Okay, that's somebody that they were trying to develop and promote into a star, so that they and bring them to the forefront of the wrestling world, so that they could, be a main attraction. And as they worked their way up, they would fight several enhancement talent jobber kind of people. And jobbers have a tough job, as it says, is because they are they're expected to go with the program, keep their expectations low, know that their job is being a jobber, that they'll probably never be a big talent. Although, Johnny was one of those ones who was a little more well known. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But he, to learn the moves the best you can and whatever, and to stick to the script and play the game and do whatever they need you to do, and make the up and coming guy look good, and not sell out anything, and play along and keep your ego in check. And the hard part about it, especially for Johnny Rods, is that he was not only a jobber, but he was also a bad guy jobber. He was a heel jobber, as they call it, and so he would wrestle pretty much all popular good guys. Okay, but the funny thing about heel jobbers or heels in general is that they secretly think the audience really likes them. Some that they throw their arms in the air and they pretend like they're really here for me, and they play along with that game. And Johnny Rods was really good at that. We used to see him at the Coliseum, and we'd go to cheer for him. I mean, we didn't care who he was wrestling against. I liked Johnny Rods, and me and my friends did as well. And we would, go crazy when we saw him. And it turns out as like he got to know that we would be there and whatever. And he'd see us and he'd look for us. It seemed like in the audience. Back then there was only about, 3,000 people there. But he'd look for us in the audience and whatever, see us going crazy. And he'd pump a fist at us and raise his arm. And he'd look right at us and know that, we were the people there that were there to support him. And in one of those times that he was there, well, Johnny actually won. He was wrestling a guy who was probably just another jobber that they needed to fill the card with, but he won that night, and we went crazy, and he went crazy too, and he was just like, looking at us and pounding the ropes, and he just went absolutely bananas. And Johnny, years later, okay, he played his role very, very well through the years. And then in 1996, something you don't think would happen happened. The World Wrestling Federation made him a member of the Hall of Fame, a spot that they usually would reserve for the big name popular characters who everybody knew and were, loved and were champion, that they had made a champion of and whatever, and that people got to know him. And Johnny Rods was the only jobber ever inducted into the Hall of Fame. And it was for how well he performed his role so well that as time went on, he actually became a trainer, a certified trainer for wrestling, where he taught on the scene and whatever right within, and he opened up a school, and he took on many of the performers that, first of all, he trained new ones and would, bring them to the people who were picking talent out, and got them into the sport, and some of them would go on to become very popular. And he also taught right on the spot, where he taught the guys, how to be a good wrestler. So the guys who were going to beat him in the ring, okay, that he knew were going to beat him in the ring, he taught them how to pull it over well. And for his job through the years, and his humbleness and his behind the scenes personality, everybody loved him. He was, honored by, being made a member of the Hall of Fame. And, here's the crazy thing is the fact that the guy was going to never be popular. He was never going to be a star in it. And he was okay with that. He still went along with it anyway. He reduced himself and taught the people who would be stars, knowing they would be stars. He kept himself in great shape. He was always in, magnificent form. And he minimized himself for the process. And it reminded me of John 3:30 with John the Baptist. I must become smaller so that he may become bigger. And we all need to look at situations on where can we be humble? Where can we be humble for others? Where can we reduce ourselves enough so that somebody else can shine? Where can we reduce ourselves more than anything so that Jesus can shine? It's more important that people don't remember us so that they can remember the Lord. And that's the example of John the Baptist eventually, is that he knew what his role was, that he would become smaller because people looked up to him, and he was like, I don't want that. I don't want that to happen. I have to get smaller so that everybody can look to him. And that's what each one of us has to do. Remember our roles. Remember that when we're gone from here, who do we want them to remember? Not us. Amen? Amen. Double Pop, Worship Zone. 24 after the hour. Hope you like that story. Double pop, worship zone, New Mercy Mornings, 15 after the hour. You know, it's becoming, I don't know, it's a double-edged sword. It's an irritant in some ways, and in some ways I like it. It depends on what it is kiosks. Okay, in place kiosks, not the kind of kiosks that you see in the mall that were attended by somebody and they little carts and they sold you something there. Kiosks like in places that are now electronically, you go into fast food and you order your food on the thing or whatever. And now the latest one with us is the one of the pharmacies who, they're not incredibly nice people and already, and then now they have a much more impersonal way of going about things by putting up an electronic kiosk. And I don't know how they think that people of a certain age are going to know it's there. All of them are struggling with that. My wife is struggling with how to do it. But they have that, and I know it's a double-edged sword, but it's also a double-edged purpose for them, and that is number one, they don't really like to. It's obvious, very obvious, they don't like to talk to people, and that seems to be a big part of what goes on at the fast food places. Is that people will say, it's young people, and they don't want to have a conversation with anybody. Okay, so they put this electronic ordering thing there, and then the second part of it allows the person who's supposed to be working a counter to be able to be helpful and back. Okay, so the same thing at the drugstore, the pharmacy, they can be filling orders while waiting for somebody to go, fill in their info at the kiosk, and then it comes up on the thing, and then they fill it and bring it over, and they call your name, out and whatever. And it's the same at Taco Bell and, whatever other McDonald's and whatever places have that. I didn't call it special sauce for once. I actually called it McDonald's. And you fill out your order, and then the kid who didn't really want to talk to you anyway brings it out, mumbles your name, and lays it on there. And if you have a card, it's a great way to pay. If you pay cash, a lot of times you have to actually wait for the kid. But, on the other hand, of things I like about it, if there was anything I do like about it, is that when I am ordering in those places, and I don't go to special sauce very much, only as recently for the pie, but I do like Taco Bell from time to time. The one thing, the pre-lettuce situation, of course, but the one thing I do like about it is the fact I can take my time ordering. I don't feel rushed. I don't feel like I gotta come up with an answer right away. Half the time I don't wear my glasses into the place, so I can't see the big menu on the wall anyway. I forget to bring them in, and so I like having the kiosk because I can sit there and I can look at each thing, decide what I want, and make it happen. So I gotta say, there's a part of it I do like having, but the whole thing at the pharmacy, it's just become kind of impersonal and whatever. But I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about kiosks? I mean, what is there any hardcore thoughts you may have about it? Leave me a comment one of these days about kiosk life and how it's affected your world, if at all, and how you feel about it. Double Pop Worship Zone, almost 19 after the hour. On Thursday, I'm Dave. Double Pop, Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings on your Thursday. That's going to do it for the day. We will be back tomorrow for Friday and get this week over with and in the history books, and it'll all be done with. New Mercy Mornings Encore posts on the Facebook group page. If you want to tap that thing, if you missed anything or you just want to hear it again because you just thought it was just so wonderful, you can do that. Or you can wait to hear it 8 p.m. tonight on the station and don't miss a thing. You can hear that 10:30 tonight, Night Flight. And 4:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, sunrise. Okay, so I gotta tell you, I did Night Flight the other night, which I have been doing, and I woke up to sunrise, and I gotta tell you, it is worth it, okay? It relaxes you so much. Even if you wake up in the middle of the night, to go do some other thing, and you come back to your bed and whatever, and Night Flight is playing right in your room, or in my case, I got it right in my ears laying down. I'm telling you, it brings you right back to sleep and relaxes you. And then sunrise, you can wake up and just, focus on the Lord and get your day going with some prayer and some good thoughts and whatever. And then you get started for your day here on Double Pop Worship Zone. So anyway, that's the end of Thursday. We'll see you again here tomorrow. In the meantime, may Jesus leave the light on for you, and I wish you nothing but peace.